And hello and welcome to another edition of the Baseball Talk Radio Show. I'm Gary Mack.
And Rich Baxter taking a little sip of coffee.
Mr. Baxter, I caught you. Rich, how are you this week?
Not bad. Trudging through the winter still, thinking of spring. And what, we only have technically, I don't know if they release this officially, but spring training's supposed to start in less than a week.
Yeah, it's like I think the 17th I heard the Mets, so that would be about a week. So I don't know if anybody's starting on the 16th or not, but we're almost there. And they say it's going to happen, so I guess it's going to happen, you know?
Yeah, it's been going back and forth. I've been hearing different things. Players won 162 games. The league was offering 154. They wanted to sort of push the start off a little bit, push it into the future a little. But the players want to play on. They want to take in a full season. They certainly want to get paid for the full season. So it looks like we're going to have baseball.
It certainly does. And nobody said anything about vaccines or anything like that. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how that all works out. But a couple of things happened this week, Rich. The Major League Baseball announced an agreement with the Players Association on an enhanced set of health and safety protocols for 2020 season that adopts the current best practices in addition to those in place during the 2020 season. So that includes the continuation of the 7-inning double headers, which you love so much, and the runner on second in extra innings. And there is no universal DH part of the agreement currently. The roster will also go to will be 26 players until the September expansion to 28. If there's a COVID-19 outbreak, teams will be permitted to add players to the roster and return them to the minors without burning minor league options or placing them on waivers once their infected players are cleared to return. So they laid out the health issues and no DH, though. And apparently the Players Union wants the DH. The owners want the DH, but they don't want to give up that bargaining point. They want to get something back. You know, it's too good of a bargaining point. So we stand without a DH again in 2021.
Yeah, and that's just fine with me. We're both National League fans. I don't want the DH in the National League. I love when the pitchers come up to bat. It adds a little drama to the game that, a DH doesn't, in my opinion. And it's been like that for years. I don't see why they should change it. The two leagues exist like they have for years, and there's no, in my opinion, no need to change it for the National League. But to jump over to what you said about the health and safety of the players, with the vaccination, it was strongly encouraged by the players union, but not required. So I'm glad they did that, because I don't think anything should be required, because that's up to an individual to do that. So even though they're strongly advising players to take the vaccination, they're not requiring them to at this point, even though they're going to have the same players gatherings limited to 10 or less rather. No indoor dining, bars and lounges prohibited, even if they serve food. And players must receive permission to leave their hotels while on the road. So, there's safety precautions in effect, but the big one is the vaccination. I don't know where you fall on vaccination, yay or nay, but they're not requiring it.
Yeah, I guess I would imagine that everybody's going to want to take it, though. I mean, just to protect themselves. No mention, at least I didn't see any mention about it. Can they decline like to play like they did last season. I doubt if you would see many guys doing that because especially somebody did it last year. They can't do 2 years in a row. I mean, it would just be, they might as well just kiss their career goodbye at that point if you're going to sit out for 2 years. But who knows? And no mention of that. Uh, Being that they're going to play 162 game season, maybe they're not going to even allow that to happen. But at least they're talking and they got something put together. So, as you say, we can start this season and get a season in.
Yeah, and even with spring training, these rules in effect before arriving at spring training, players will be required to self quarantine for 5 days and fill out a health questionnaire. They go intake testing once in either Arizona or Florida, and then testing will continue at least every other day throughout spring training and the regular season. So they have these again these nice things in effect for the players. Hopefully, we'll see less COVID outbreaks this year, even though we're still very much in this
Mm-hmm.
pandemic.
Yeah, and I think there's actually one state, and I can't remember. Is it Iowa that's actually taking the masks off?
Yeah, in Iowa.
Uh,
Yep.
so we're making progress here. Hopefully, of course, not in some of the big states that like the ones we're in, the blue states, but that's another show. So, oh,
That's our other show.
that's our other show. Uh, another newsworthy item, Rich, is that multiple sources confirmed the ball's construction will change slightly, and five more teams are adding humidors for ball storage, all part of MLB's attempt to reduce the wild recent year-to-year swings in home run rates league wide. The Athletic obtained an internal memo that Major League Baseball sent Friday to the general managers and assistant general managers outlining minor changes that might combine to reduce offensive slightly in offense slightly in the 2021 season. They say it'll be imperceptible to fans and perhaps even to those on the field. But going to my history on the past, whenever they tinker with the ball, you notice it. I mean, they juiced it a few years ago, and the home run numbers went through the roof.
Yeah.
Now they want to dial it back down. Well, I don't know. I thought they liked offense and wanted to keep it to keep people interested.
Yeah. Just put up for our YouTube listeners and watchers a report that was on ESPN, and yeah, I it gives credence to the fact that the MLB is tinkering with the ball. Now we know it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And did they tinker with it, I wonder, to get all those home runs, or is it just players becoming better to hit the long ball? That's a good question, but it says here in the article MLB baseballs are hand sewn by workers in Rawlings factory in Costa Rica, leading to the inevitable minor deviations in production that can have a sizable repercussion. So all this time I really thought it was made by computer aided technology where it's sewn real fast and things like that, but apparently not. It's hand sewn, and just messing with the innards of the ball can have a big impact on what we see on the field, and as well adding the humidors to keep the balls in. So it's a pretty interesting science about that, really.
It certainly is, and even if you really look at it, and even down to the point about getting the mud for the umpires rub the balls with, at a certain place in Delaware or Jersey, and
Yeah, out of
uh,
the Delaware Bay, believe it or not, it's
yeah,
the special uh, dark clay colored type substance that is made good for rubbing onto baseball. So yeah, that's an interesting topic as well.
It's fascinating when you think about it, that's what who would think, and it's got to be from that specific spot,
Right.
because that's the only place that does what they want to do to dull the ball and whatever. But it's pretty interesting stuff. But um, let's move on to the next subject, Rich.
Uh-huh.
The free agents. The big one's gone now. Trevor Bauer signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers in his native California, and 3-year deal, 102 million, that has opt outs after years 1 and 2. He is set to make 40 million in 2021 and 45 million in 2022. The Mets were in on this, didn't go that high. I don't blame him. I'm glad. I don't think he's worth this kind of money. Good pitcher, but is he worth that kind of money?
I the first I'm reading of this and hearing of it is really from you. I did hear that he went to the Dodgers, but I didn't hear about money. That's insane to me. I really think that's insane. $40 million. Let me put his stats up on the screen for us to digest a little bit here. And thank you, by the way, to our YouTube viewers last week. I think we had an all-time high in a weekly view of a show.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
thanks very much. Here's Trevor Bauer's stats. Not very awesome, if you ask me.
No, I mean, he's been a good, a good pitcher, but nothing outstanding until last year. And really, to pay that kind of money on a 1-year deal, or I should say, based on 1 year, it's a 3-year deal he got, and even that's a little surprising. He only got a 3-year deal, but I guess they figured, or he figured as well, that they'll pay him the money up front and they'll get him in his prime, and if he pitches well, he'll move on from there. But that's an awful lot of money. I don't know what the Mets, who were in it to the end with the Dodgers, I don't know what they offered, but I don't think it was um, anywhere near that. And to be honest, I don't think he had any indication or any um, intent to sign with the Mets. I think he used the Mets as to drive up the chip and to drive up the price with to get the Dodgers to pay. He's from California. Makes sense. He'd want to go home. But players do that a lot. They use the other teams to build up interest, and that's how they make the most money.
So a 3-year deal. I'm just doing the math real quick. 85, 95, 100 million, $102 million. 3-year deal possible. He may opt out either after this season or next season. So he's got a chance to opt out and maybe go for a bigger contract with another ball club should he repeat what he did last year. But I'm with you. I feel that he had a great year knowing that he needed to have a great year for his contract coming up. He's 29 years of age last year. We see the ERA of 173, which is awesome. But look at all the other years.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't
That's it.
produced
Yeah.
that number ever.
No, that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, he
My
had a great
guess,
year.
is that with a one an opt out after the first year and the second year, I would take the 85 million. If I have a good year in the second year, I'd opt out then, because the last year he's only gonna get 17 million based on these numbers. So, How old is he, Rich? I'm not sure.
He's going to be 30 years old as of this playing season.
So he would be, let's say, 32. After the second year, 85 million in the bank, and if he has a good year, that would be the time to opt out. I would think. Wouldn't
Yeah,
opt out after the first year because
right.
you got 45 million. You're not gonna unless you can get you know a huge contract. You're not gonna make that kind of money.
Yeah,
So you might as well make that. Hope you have another good year and then opt out at 32 and hope you can get another 3-year deal for roughly the same amount of money. It's
yeah. And
crazy, isn't it?
he's a hometown boy there, born in North Hollywood, California. So he'll be playing in his home, his birth home. So yeah, it is crazy those kind of figures. Maybe they're making up for lost time. I don't know, but maybe kudos to his agent for arranging that type of situation. It really benefits him to the max. I haven't seen too many contracts like this where a player can opt out after a year or two
Yeah.
and get such a huge amount of money. We look at the chart here. He was paid 17.5 million last year by the Cincinnati Reds and just happened to have a year where he won the Cy Young. So I guess
Well,
that pays off.
he cashed in on.
Yeah.
He certainly did. He cashed in on it, and you know, so good for him. Rich, there was another story that came up this week. I didn't mention it to you, but I'm just looking through my notes here, and this was an interesting story that uh, shortstop Andrelton Simmons played with the Angels last year, and he opted out in the final week of the season. Remember that? I think we discussed that.
Yeah.
Now it comes out that the reason he did that was because he was experiencing a combination of depression and thoughts of suicide.
Wow.
Um, Fascinating story. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. You can read about it online, but he just signed a $10.5 million contract with the Twins, and that's when it came out in a press conference. So, um, I guess it just shows you that these guys are human, and we think that they're superhuman. But here's a guy struggling with depression and suicide, and um, COVID's doing it. I don't know if it's just COVID doing it, but it's doing it to a lot of people, and even on this level. And these guys were at least doing what they love to do, but um, really a sad story in a way.
Yeah. I mean, it can creep up on people regardless of their jobs, and everybody, sports people like us would believe that we'd be on top of the world if we had a job being
Right, right.
paid to play a game that you love. And that's something. It's a shame, like you said. Hope he's well and gets better, and of course with the COVID too, stays free and clear of that.
Hmm.
So we want to encourage our listeners, if you're out there, send us an email. We've been saying we'd like you to subscribe to the show, but so far it's been falling upon deaf ears. So we'd like you to maybe consider sponsoring our show. You can go over to anchor.fm/baseball talk. And there you can see our website where we have all the shows. And you can also subscribe to us right from that. Or I'm sorry, it's /baseball talk radio show. Um, and you can actually sponsor us with the support button. You see the Baseball Talk Radio Show logo there, that's behind me. You'll know you're at the right spot if I tell you which is the correct website, of course. It's anchor.fm baseball talk radio show. Hit the support button. You can go right through Anchor, and $1 a month is all we're looking for. If we can get 25 people to go for 99 cents a month, we're going to be happy because Gary wants to get a faster computer. He's bringing us better content on video, and he's got more ideas, but we'd like to sort of get a grassroots support in to pick up from there and help us out with it. So go to our website there, anchor.fm/ baseball talk radio show. Send your support with a one click button there, and it's all safe and secure. If you can afford a little more, you can go to $4.99 a month, and we certainly appreciate it. But jumping back to some of our stats, Gary, I think that's been a good way to talk about people that are listening to the show, and let's show some of
And
our.
watching too.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and we'll jump into those YouTube stats as the year goes on as well. We'll alternate, but here's our podcast listeners: 72% Apple Podcasts, Amazon Alexa's picking up; it's 4%, Overcast 3, Anchor Direct 3%, and then other podcast sites 18%. Our show goes to a number of different sites. I've seen different independent sites listing our podcast, which we don't get stats for sometimes, unfortunately, because of the way they cannibalize our show. But if you're listening to our show, we'd invite you to our main website, which is anchor.fm/ baseball talk radio show. Gary, 85% listeners are from United States. We got 7% United Kingdom, 1% in Mexico. So,
That's cool.
arriba.
Yeah.
Looking at the age groups here, our biggest listeners are in probably the biggest bunch of population there, 45 to 59, and we have a nice bunch in the 35 to 44 category, and 60 plus. We have a ton of listeners 60 plus. So thank you, seniors out there, for listening. 90% male listeners, 10% female. So thanks, ladies.
Thank you very much. As Rich was saying, we are on YouTube, and you can watch us on YouTube. We had a nice audience last week watching us or viewing it afterwards. It's recorded now. We would like to try maybe to do some live shows, but we're working on that, looking into that and see what it would entail at this point. But check us out on YouTube as well, because and subscribe. It helps us to grow this community that we're trying to establish, and to get more listeners, and to bring more content and better content to you. So please check us out on YouTube as well as on Anchor.
Awesome. We'd love to have you stop out and check out both the offerings that we have. Also, our Patreon site, we have some offers there as well. I was talking about patreon.com/ baseball talk. So, love to see you there as well. And Gary, we were talking about the start of spring training. This article just came up on MLB.com. So, I'll scroll through it real quick. Official first days of spring training here. As you said, they begin February 17th. Here's some of the teams: Orioles on the 17th, White Sox, Tigers, Royals, Angels, Yankees, Athletics. Going on down the line, the Rangers, the first day here. In the National League, looks like the D-backs, Cubs, Phillies will start off, the Pirates, Cardinals, uh, Padres, Mets are the 19th, so they're taking a couple extra days.
See, I read somewhere that there was the 17th. Now that says the 19th. You don't know, right?
Yeah, it looks like
Looks
pitchers and
like
catchers and then full squad.
right,
So,
right, right.
um, That
And it's
week is when they start.
the
So,
17th, a very special day for me.
oh, awesome.
It's
You're
my
gonna
birthday.
you're gonna have a birthday. So that's good. And Mets start
Oh, I don't know how good it is.
pitchers and catchers as well.
The
So
cake has got to get bigger and the candles get heavier every year. So,
I hear you.
Rich, a sad note on this show this week. Pedro Gomez, an ESPN reporter since 2003 and one of the country's foremost baseball journalists, died unexpectedly on Sunday. He was 58 years old. He's been on Sports Center Baseball Tonight, ESPN studio shows. Um, he covered more than 25 World Series and more than 20 All-Star game. He is survived by his wife Sandra, his sons Rio and Dante, and daughter Sierra. And I believe his son Rio is in currently pitching in the minor leagues. And unfortunately, his father's not going to see him, maybe make the majors, who knows. But sad story there. Pedro Gomez passes away at the age of 58 unexpectedly. So, a young man. So,
Yeah. Did
our
the
condolences go out to the family.
Yeah, working a lot for ESPN and you know, these things just happen out of the blue sometimes. What a shame. So Pedro Gomez, one of the bright spots of broadcasting and things, and never hear anything negative about him. So
Mm-hmm.
it will be a good loss for ESPN and the listeners.
And Rich, that's gonna wrap it up. It's a quick show this week. You have to get to work, so we had to curtail the show a little bit. But I
My
think we
real
got
job.
your real job. We got covered everything we wanted to cover. One other thing, Dustin Pedroia, the Boston Red Sox second baseman for a number of years, announced his retirement. So good luck, Dustin, whatever you decide to do in your post baseball career. But terrific, scrappy ball player retiring. Had a lot of knee issues the last couple of years, and really was in and out of the lineup. So I guess he figured it's just too much now.
And I see you're rocking the Heil mic here before we go. I just wanted to mention that.
Yes, decided to go back to the somewhat almost the old setup. Not quite. Don't have the big mixer. Got a little tiny mixer, and
Uh-huh.
so got tired of the headset. Did a show last week, to be honest, and the audio was not very good. A Mets show, the audio wasn't good. I wasn't happy with it, so I decided to go back to the old school.
Yeah, it's nice. PR30 is that?
PR20.
PR20. Nice. So
Yeah, yeah.
you
So
budding podcasters out there, take note of the of our equipment. We'll send you links with a Amazon link if you want. Send
yeah,
us an
and
email.
if Heil is listening and wants me to try anything, Rich or I are always willing to try some new
Yeah.
equipment out. So
Yeah, if Heil would like to send us a PR40s, we'll gladly give him a boost
a
during the
mention.
show. Sure. All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week with some baseball spring training startup news.
Wow, how exciting is that, huh?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you all the next time.